Hey everyone, my name is Linda Carter. I'm 69 years old, and I'm about to tell you something that changed my life forever. It's a story about a house, a little ranch-style home on Maple Street in suburban Ohio. But to me, it wasn't just a house. It was my everything. It was 35 years of my life. It was where I brought my baby daughter, Sarah, home from the hospital. It's where I nursed my husband Richard through his final illness. And it's where I was supposed to spend the rest of my quiet, comfortable retirement. I'd worked hard for that comfort. I was a registered nurse for 40 years. I saw a lot of drama at the hospital, let me tell you. But I always thought my own life would be predictable, safe, boring, even. And honestly, after everything, boring sounded wonderful. Richard passed away 4 years ago. It was the hardest time. But that house, that beautiful, sturdy little house, it was my anchor. It had this big, old maple tree in the front yard. I remember the fall colors, just spectacular. And the scent of the wood polish in the living room. It was home. My daughter, Sarah. Well, Sarah is my only child. She's 42 now, and like any mother, I love her fiercely. She's smart, she's driven. She became a successful real estate agent. Actually, isn't that ironic? She was always the busy one, the go-getter, the one who needed to be in control. In the past few years, ever since Richard passed, Sarah got very involved in my finances. Not in a suspicious way, not at first. It was helpful. She'd say, "Mom, you shouldn't worry about the utilities. Let me handle those automatic payments." Or, "Just sign these insurance forms. Mom, it's too complicated for you to wade through." I was still sharp, but honestly, grief takes a lot out of you. And Richard always handled the paperwork. So, I was grateful. I trusted her completely. Why wouldn't I? She's my daughter. She encouraged me to sign a power of attorney. She said it was standard estate planning. She made it sound like if I didn't, the government would just swoop in and take everything. "It's just in case, Mom," she said, leaning over my kitchen table, her voice all businesslike and efficient. "If you ever had a health crisis, someone needs to be able to pay your bills." It made perfect sense. So I signed it. It was a general durable power of attorney. It gave her the legal right to act on my behalf in almost every financial and legal matter. I barely read the fine print. I just saw my daughter's face, full of professional reassurance, and I signed. Life settled into a pleasant rhythm. I'd go to my garden club, volunteer at the library. My afternoons were usually spent knitting or watching an old movie. The biggest decision of my day was usually whether to have Earl Grey or green tea. The first sign that something was wrong wasn't a huge explosion. It was a tiny little whisper. It was late March. I was tidying up the utility closet, getting ready for spring cleaning. And I found a stack of mail that had been shoved behind a box of Christmas decorations. It was addressed to me, but it looked official. I opened the first one. It was from the City Tax Assessor's Office, It was a notification about a change of ownership, for 1422 Maple Street. My address. I remember standing there, the dust motes dancing in the afternoon sun, the paper shaking in my hand. I read it again, and again. It said the property had been sold, closed, transfer of title complete. The date on the document was almost 4 months prior, December 12th. I felt a dizzying wave of coldness wash over me. It was like standing on solid ground and suddenly realizing you're floating in open air. My first thought, the irrational, panicked thought, was that it was a scam. Some identity theft nightmare. No, it couldn't be real. I dropped the stack of papers and stumbled into the kitchen, fumbling for my phone. I called Sarah immediately. She didn't pick up. I left a frantic message. "Sarah, call me, immediately. Something is wrong with the house papers." I waited for 20 minutes. Every minute felt like an hour. I walked through my house, touching the walls, the worn-out edge of the kitchen counter. My house. How could it be sold? I hadn't signed anything. I hadn't moved. I was sitting in my living room. When Sarah finally called back, her voice was calm. "Hi, Mom. What's all the drama about?" "Drama?" I could barely breathe. "Sarah, I found these papers. From the city. They say the house was sold in December. What is this?" Is this a mistake? There was a silence on the line. A deep, long, terrible silence that felt like the earth opening up beneath my feet. Then, she said the words that shattered my reality. No, Mom, it's not a mistake. I sold the house. I sat down hard on a kitchen chair. What? My voice was just a dry whisper. I sold it, Mom, in December. I've been meaning to tell you. Her tone was flat, utterly devoid of emotion or apology, like she was telling me she'd picked up the dry cleaning. Without telling me. Sarah, how could you? The heat began to rise in my chest. A terrible, suffocating pressure. Mom, please, don't be dramatic. I used the power of attorney you gave me. You used the power of attorney to sell my home. It was a sound financial decision, Mom. The market was hot. I got a fantastic price, over the asking comps. You were just sitting on a massive untapped asset. She was speaking in real estate jargon, treating my life like a balance sheet. Untapped asset. This is my home, Sarah. My life. Where am I supposed to live? You're already living there, Mum. Nothing has changed yet. That was part of the deal. I negotiated a leaseback for you. I felt faint. A leaseback, I'm renting my own house. Technically, yes, Mom. You're a tenant now. It's a 6-month lease. But look, it's a huge win. I'm going to take the profit and invest it. It's going to secure your future far better than this old place. I closed my eyes. This wasn't a nightmare I could wake up from. This was Sarah, my daughter, who had not just committed a betrayal, but was also trying to sell it to me as a favor. What profit? Sarah, where is the money? It's being handled, Mom. I've set up a complex trust for the proceeds. It's all very sophisticated. Honestly, you wouldn't understand all the moving parts. That's why I didn't want to bother you with the details. The arrogance of that line. You wouldn't understand. I understood betrayal perfectly. I understood that the house I was sitting in no longer belonged to me. I understood that every cent of equity, every dollar I'd worked for, was now completely out of my control. I want to see the paperwork, Sarah. The closing documents. The deed. The trust. Everything. Now. My voice was low. It was the voice I used at the hospital when a nurse was making a critical error, quiet, but commanding. She hesitated. Mom, don't do this. I'm protecting you. I'm protecting your money. You are not protecting me. You stole my home. You walked into my life and, in secret, you sold the only thing I have left. Bring me the papers. Today, the call ended with a click. I just sat there, listening to the dial tone. The silence in the house was no longer peaceful. It was heavy. It was menacing. I was a 69-year-old woman, alone, sitting in a stranger's house, and the stranger who had sold it was my own child. I stood up and walked into the living room. I looked at the fireplace where Richard and I used to sit on cold nights. I looked at the worn-out spot on the rug where Sarah used to play with her dolls. All those memories, they didn't mean a thing to the new owner. Or to Sarah. Later that evening, she showed up. She didn't come through the front door like a daughter. She came in like a realtor, holding a briefcase. She sat down across from me, her back straight, a perfect mask of control on her face. Okay, Mom, here it is. Don't look so worried. She slid a thick stack of documents across the coffee table. The closing statement, the deed transfer, the power of attorney I'd signed, and a copy of the new lease agreement. I picked up the closing statement first. The sale price was astronomical. She had gotten a good price. But then I looked at the line where the money went. The funds were not transferred to a bank account in my name. They went to an entity called the Carter Family Legacy Trust, and under executor, or trustee, there was only one name, Sarah Carter, I put the papers down. I looked into her eyes. They were cold. Just a professional veneer. No warmth. No little girl looking up at her mother. You didn't just sell the house, Sarah, I said, my voice barely holding together. You took the money, too. It's a trust, Mom. It's better for tax purposes, and it ensures the money is managed professionally. Managed by who, Sarah? Managed by you. Yes. I'm a professional, Mom. I know how to make this money grow. I've already invested a large chunk in a new business venture. It's a gold mine. I'm doing this for our future." The words "our future" hung in the air, hollow and cruel. I realized then that this wasn't about securing my retirement. This was about securing her future. With my money. The final, crushing blow came from the lease agreement. She hadn't just secured a 6-month lease. The lease was for a nominal fee, but with a critical clause. It stated that after the initial 6 months, the new owners had the right to terminate the lease with ** 30 days notice ** if they decided to move in. It wasn't a guarantee. It was a ticking clock. "Sarah," I said, pointing at the clause, "in 6 months, I could be homeless." She sighed, exasperated, like I was the most difficult client she'd ever dealt with. "Don't be dramatic, Mom. We'll find you a nice condo when the time comes, but right now, you need to understand that what I did was legal. I had the power of attorney. The sale is final, and you are safe." But I wasn't safe. I was terrified, and I was completely alone. I had lost my home. I had lost my life savings. And in that moment, I realized I had also lost my daughter. The real story, the terrifying part, was just beginning. The coldness in Sarah's eyes that night, it was worse than any pain I had ever felt. It was the realization that the woman sitting across from me, the woman I had sacrificed so much for, was a stranger, a professional predator, using the skills I had paid for to strip me of everything. "You need to leave," I finally said. My voice was shaking, but the words were firm. "Take your papers and your briefcase, and leave my home." I still called it my home, even though the legal documents on the table said otherwise. She didn't move immediately. She just looked at me, this look of pity mixed with deep annoyance. "Mom, this isn't productive. You're emotional. Let's talk about this when you're calmer." "I will never be calmer about this, Sarah. You committed fraud. You stole from your mother." I stood up, gripping the back of the chair so hard my knuckles turned white. I wasn't a frail old lady anymore. I was a lioness who had just watched her cub turn on her. I had the power of attorney. "Mom, it's not fraud. It's a strategic move. I acted within my legal rights." She packed up her papers, still trying to maintain that cool, real estate facade. "You acted on a trust I placed in you. That trust is broken, Sarah, completely broken." "I'm leaving now," she said, her voice finally losing some of its professional polish, tinged with anger. "But I'm doing this for your benefit, whether you see it now or not. I'll be in touch." She walked out the door and, for the first time in my life, I locked the deadbolt and the chain against my own daughter. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the edge of my bed, the papers spread out on the quilt, reading them again and again. The numbers swam before my eyes. The sale price was $450,000. After all the fees and closing costs, about $420,000 had gone straight into the Carter Family Legacy Trust, a trust that Sarah controlled entirely. I thought about Richard, my husband. He had paid off this mortgage 20 years ago. He had broken his back working extra shifts so we would have security. And now, with a few strokes of a pen, Sarah had vaporized it. Not just the house, but the years of security that Richard had built. It felt like she had violated his memory. The next morning, I woke up with a singular, icy resolve. I am a nurse. We deal with emergencies. We deal with betrayal. When a patient lies about their symptoms or a colleague makes a mistake, you don't panic. You assess, you plan, and you act. My first call was not to an emotional support line. It was to the family lawyer, an old friend of Richard's, Mr. Harrison. I hadn't spoken to him in years. I explained the situation, trying to keep the tears out of my voice. "Linda, slow down. Your daughter sold your house using a durable power of attorney," he asked, his voice low and grave. "Yes, and transferred all the proceeds into a private trust where she is the sole trustee." There was a long pause. "Linda, that's not just a bad investment decision. That's a breach of fiduciary duty, given the circumstances that she's your daughter, and she moved the funds into a trust she controls. This smells like elder financial abuse **. The phrase hung in the air, elder financial abuse **. It was a clinical term, but it hit me like a physical blow. It put a name to the cold, cruel actions. It wasn't a family squabble. It was a crime. I scheduled an appointment with him immediately. When I arrived at his office, I felt like a ghost of my former self. I carried the briefcase with all the documents, the deed, the closing statement, the trust papers, the dreaded leaseback. Mr. Harrison and his junior associate spent 2 hours going over every line. The findings were grim. The sale itself, due to the valid power of attorney, was technically legal, but the transfer of the funds into a private trust, controlled solely by Sarah, without my knowledge or consent, was the key. That, and the immediate deployment of those funds into her new business venture, which she had not yet disclosed. "Linda, the house is gone," Mr. Harrison said gently, pushing his glasses up his nose. "The title is clear. We can't easily get the house back without suing the innocent third-party buyer, and that's a mess. Our immediate focus has to be on the $420,000 she stole and securing your place to live." "The leaseback," I said, pointing to the paperwork. 6 months, then 30 days notice. She made you a renter in your own home," the associate muttered, shaking his head. "We need to freeze the assets immediately," Mr. Harrison stated. "We'll file a civil suit alleging financial exploitation and breach of fiduciary duty. We'll also file a police report, but sometimes the district attorney is slow on these cases. Civil court is faster for freezing the money." My stomach turned over. A lawsuit against Sarah. I still struggled with the idea of public war with my own flesh and blood. "Linda, you have no choice. She took every cent of your security and put you at risk of homelessness. She left you with nothing but a ticking clock and a stack of papers." I nodded, the fight hardening my spine. "Do it. Freeze the assets. I want that money back." The first few weeks were a blur of legal paperwork, depositions, and the crushing weight of secrecy. I couldn't tell my friends at the garden club. "How do you say, my daughter stole my retirement?" It sounds like a terrible soap opera plot. It was too humiliating. I was a strong, intelligent woman. How had I been so easily manipulated? Sarah, meanwhile, was furious. The moment the court ordered temporary restraining order was placed on her Carter family legacy trust, preventing her from accessing the funds, she called me. "You filed a lawsuit, Mom. Are you insane?" Her voice was laced with pure, unfiltered rage. "I filed a lawsuit to get my money back. Sarah, why did you invest it? It was a bridge loan, She spat out. "I loaned the money from the trust to my new business for a startup cost. It was an investment. It was going to quadruple your money in a year. You used my money, the full value of my home, as a bridge loan to your startup company, without telling me." I could feel the anger vibrating through the phone line. "It's my company, yes, but it's our future. We would have been set. Now, because of your over-the-top emotional reaction, the court is going to shut down my accounts. And this whole deal is going to collapse. You're ruining me, Mom." Her ability to play the victim was astounding. She had taken every penny, but I was the one ruining her. "I am not ruining you, Sarah. Your actions ruined you. You betrayed me. I want the money returned to a custodial account in my name, managed by a third-party fiduciary, not you." She hung up on me again. The weeks dragged on. I was living a double life, smiling and waving at the neighbors, watering the garden, pretending everything was fine. Inside, I was a battlefield. Then came the second terrible shock. The 30-day eviction notice, I found it taped to my front door. It was a certified legal notice from the new owners, a young couple who had bought the house through Sarah's own agency. They had decided to move in. The leaseback clause was being executed. It was April 29th. The notice demanded that I vacate the property by May 29th. 1 month, the day I dreaded, had arrived. I was a 69-year-old woman, jobless, with her entire life savings frozen in a court case, and I had 30 days to find a new home. I sat on the porch swing and just stared at the notice. Tears blurred the words, but the message was starkly clear. Sarah had ensured my security was a 6-month illusion, and the illusion was over. I called Mr. Harrison, my voice cracking. "They served me notice. The new owners, I have 30 days. I see it. Linda, I just got a copy. We need to move fast. We can try for an emergency injunction on humanitarian grounds, but your best bet is a temporary place to stay while we fight this." A temporary place. I realized I had nowhere to go. I couldn't stay with friends and explain why. I couldn't afford a hotel indefinitely. It was, in that moment, sitting on the porch swing that Richard had built, that I finally allowed myself to feel the full, crushing weight of the betrayal. It wasn't just money, it was dignity, it was security. It was the unconditional love I had offered my daughter, twisted and weaponized against me. I looked at the house one last time, this place of so many happy memories. It was no longer a home, it was the scene of a crime. And I knew then, with absolute certainty, that I would not just fight to get the money back. I would fight to make Sarah understand the human cost of her greed. The battle was about to move from the kitchen table to the courtroom, and I was ready. The 30-day eviction clock was the most stressful timer I have ever lived with. It hung over me like a guillotine. Mr. Harrison, bless his heart, managed to buy me a little time. He filed an emergency motion, arguing that since my daughter had intentionally defrauded me and left me suddenly homeless, a 90-day stay should be granted on humanitarian grounds. The judge granted us 60 days, 2 months. It was a reprieve, a small victory, but it meant I was still living in limbo. Those 60 days were spent preparing for war. The lawsuit was formally filed. Carter versus Carter ***. The name on the document was almost comical in its brevity, but the reality was devastating. I was suing my daughter. The discovery process was agonizing. We learned the full extent of Sarah's investments. That goldmine business venture. It was a high-risk tech startup in which Sarah was a minority owner. She hadn't just loaned the trust money. She had essentially bought her way into a failing company, hoping to flip it for massive returns. It was pure, reckless speculation, driven by her own ambition, not my financial security. Her lawyer, a slick, aggressive man named Mr. Thompson, argued that Sarah had simply made a good faith error in judgment. He claimed that since the power of attorney gave her broad control, her actions were just poor investment strategies, not criminal intent. They focused entirely on the letter of the law, ignoring the spirit. They tried to paint me as the hysterical, ungrateful mother who didn't understand modern finance. I had to sit for a deposition. It was brutal. Mr. Thompson grilled me for 3 hours in a stuffy conference room. He tried to trip me up on every detail of my life after Richard died. "Mrs. Carter," he'd sneer, "isn't it true that after your husband passed, you were icily confused by financial documents?" "No, Mr. Thompson, I was grieving. But I am an intelligent woman and a retired professional nurse. I know the difference between confused and trusting my own child. But you signed the power of attorney without reading it fully, didn't you?" "I signed it because my daughter, a licensed real estate professional, assured me it was merely for convenience in case of a medical emergency." She misrepresented her intentions, but the words were on the paper, were they not, Mrs. Carter? The words giving her the power to sell the real estate. I had to look him straight in the eye. Yes, they were, but the fundamental law, sir, is based on trust. The trust that she would act in my best interest as a fiduciary, selling my only asset, leaving me homeless, and stealing the proceeds for her own personal speculation is not a best interest. That was my strength. Not the legal terms, but the moral truth. I was the kind, trusting mother. She was the ambitious, cold-hearted daughter. I had to make the judge and, eventually, a jury see that truth. I saw Sarah a few times during those initial court proceedings. She avoided my eyes. Once, in the hallway, I tried to speak to her. I was still holding on to that sliver of hope that she would crack, that she would look at me and apologize, that she would say, "Mom, I made a terrible mistake. Sarah, please, stop this. Just return the money. Let's talk about a new power of attorney, one that protects me. We can still fix this." She stopped, but she didn't look at me. She looked at her lawyer. Mr. Thompson stepped in quickly. "Mrs. Carter, do not speak to my client outside of the official deposition." Sarah finally turned her head, just slightly. Her face was drawn, stressed, but still hardened. "I did nothing wrong, Mom," she whispered, cold as ice. "You just don't want to admit I was smarter than you about the market. You'll get your money back when my investment pays off." That was the last of my maternal pity. She still saw this as a business disagreement, not a moral catastrophe, not a family destroyed. The toughest part was moving out of the house. The 60 days were up. I had nowhere permanent to go. I couldn't afford to rent an apartment while paying Mr. Harrison's substantial legal fees, which were piling up rapidly. I made the difficult decision to move into an extended stay hotel, just a little place near the freeway. It was clean, but sterile. It was temporary, but terribly isolating. I had to pack up 35 years of my life, Richard's golf clubs, Sarah's childhood artwork, my wedding dress, all of it crammed into moving boxes and stored in a small, expensive storage unit. Watching the moving van drive away from 1422 Maple Street felt like watching my entire past drive into a black hole. It was the physical confirmation of my loss. I was officially homeless. In the sterile hotel room, I'd sit alone at night, the sound of traffic muffled outside the window. I'd look at photos Sarah's high school graduation, Christmas morning photos, and I'd weep. I wasn't crying over the house anymore. I was crying over the daughter I had lost. The betrayal was complete. The case finally moved to trial 9 long months after I found that letter. I walked into the courtroom feeling frail, but with a deep core of steel. I was dressed simply, in a dark blue suit, looking every bit the respectful, retired, professional. Sarah, conversely, was dressed in a shop, expensive suit, looking like a high-powered executive. The contrast was deliberate and effective. The trial lasted for days. Mr. Harrison was brilliant. He didn't focus on abstract legal terms. He focused on the story. He showed the jury the pictures of the house. He talked about my 4 decades of service as a nurse. He explained how Richard had worked extra shifts to pay off the mortgage, securing my future. Then, he showed them the documents, the power of attorney, signed in trust, the closing statement, showing $420,000 going into a trust that Sarah solely controlled, the evidence of the immediate transfer of those funds into her startup and unproven, higher-risk venture. And finally, the eviction notice, forcing a 69-year-old woman out of her home and into a hotel. On the stand, I told my story simply, no embellishment. I just told them what happened, the facts, the fear, the shame. Mrs. Carter, when did you realize that your daughter was not acting in your best interest? Mr. Harrison asked me during the direct examination. I looked directly at the jury, and then, for the first time, I looked at Sarah. She finally met my gaze. The moment I saw the lease agreement, I said, my voice clear and steady, the one that gave the new owners the right to throw me out with 30 days' notice. That's when I realized her plan for my security left me completely exposed. The moment I realized she had prioritized her high-risk investment above my shelter, above the memory of her father, above her own mother's well-being. Did you ever intend for the entire equity of your home to be used to fund her private business venture? Never, I said firmly. I intended for the power of attorney to protect me in sickness, not to be used by my only child to financially exploit me in my old age. When Sarah took the stand, she looked completely polished, but she cracked under cross-examination. Mr. Harrison pressed her hard on the fiduciary duty. Miss Carter, did you believe that putting your mother's life savings into a new, unproven startup was the safest, most prudent investment possible for a retired person's funds? It was a smart investment, she insisted, her voice tight. A growth opportunity. A growth opportunity for whom, Miss Carter? For your mother, who needed immediate, low-risk income. Or for you, who needed the capital to be a partner in a new company. She stumbled. It was, for both of us. It was a shared legacy that resulted in your mother being evicted from her home and living in an extended stay hotel. Is that the legacy you intended, Miss Carter? She finally broke, not with tears, but with pure, raw anger. She's fine. She's being dramatic. I was going to pay her back. She just ruined the timing. That outburst was the turning point. It showed the jury her true character, self-serving, entitled, and convinced of her own superior judgment. She had no remorse for my suffering, only for the interruption of her plans. The evidence was overwhelming. The power of attorney was valid, yes, but the abuse of that power was undeniable. We had finished the presentation of evidence. The closing arguments were tomorrow. I felt exhausted, empty, and strangely triumphant. The fight was almost over, and I had endured. But what would the final cost be? The house was gone forever. And the daughter I loved was sitting 20 feet away, glaring at me like an enemy. The judgment day was about to arrive. The day of the jury deliberation felt like an eternity compressed into a few hours. I sat in Mr. Harrison's office, sipping cold coffee, trying to focus on anything but the clock. Sarah was doing the same thing, I supposed, sitting in her lawyer's office across the hall. We were inches apart, but lifetimes away. I kept thinking about the look on her face when she lost her temper on the stand, That wasn't the face of my daughter. It was the face of a desperate stranger. And I realized, the moment the verdict came, I wouldn't just be gaining my money back, I would be confirming that the Sarah I knew, the kind and loving one, was truly gone. That was the real sentence. When the bailiff called, my heart pounded so hard I thought I might faint. I walked back into the courtroom, my legs feeling like they were made of lead. The jury filed in, their faces unreadable. I didn't dare look at Sarah. The foreman stood. The clerk asked the question. In the matter of Carter versus Carter, on the count of ***, breach of fiduciary duty, ***, financial exploitation of an elderly person, ***, how do you find? Foreman's voice was clear. We find for the plaintiff, Linda Carter. A sound escaped me. It wasn't a cheer or a sob, just a rush of air, a moment of profound, dizzying relief. The jury had seen the truth. They had understood that the law must protect trust, especially the trust between a mother and child. The judge ordered that the entire balance of the proceeds from the house $420 plus legal interest be immediately transferred from ***, the Carter Family Legacy Trust ***, into a secure, court-appointed conservatorship account in my name. He also ordered that Sarah pay a significant portion of my legal fees, citing her egregious misconduct. She didn't react with anger this time. As the judge delivered the verdict and the financial judgment, Sarah went completely pale. She just sat there, looking small, the expensive suit suddenly looking too big on her slender frame. Her lawyer immediately started whispering about appeals, but the look in her eyes was pure defeat. It wasn't just the money. Her business venture, that gold mine, had been entirely dependent on that bridge loan. Without it, it was finished. She had not only lost my trust and my life savings, but, in the end, she had lost her own ambitious dream. I left the courthouse that day feeling an immense weight lifted, but I was not happy. There were no high fives with Mr. Harrison, just a somber, mutual acknowledgement of a battle won. I went back to that little sterile hotel room, sat on the edge of the bed, and finally allowed myself to cry. I cried for Richard, who built that security. I cried for the house I would never see again. But mostly, I cried for the daughter who had committed this terrible crime. The next few months were spent establishing my financial independence. I finally had my money back, safe and sound, but the market had moved on, and my living situation was still unstable. I used a small portion of the funds to purchase a modest little condo on the other side of town. It was tiny. It didn't have a maple tree or a worn spot on the rug from my daughter's playtime. But it was **mine**. It had my name on the deed, and nobody could take it. I settled into my new routine. I rejoined my garden club. I found a new rhythm. The silence in the condo was safe, not menacing. I was rebuilding. As for Sarah, I haven't seen her since the courtroom. She lost her license as a real estate agent. The ethics committee and the fallout from the civil case were too much. She moved out of state, quietly, I was told, to live with an old college friend. She tried to contact me once, about 6 months after the verdict. It was a text message. Not an apology, but a request. She needed a small amount of money to start over. She asked for a *** loan, *** from the money she had stolen. I read the text and I just stared at it. It was like she hadn't learned anything. She was still treating me like an ATM, not a mother. She still saw the money as hers to claim, rather than mine to be respected. I didn't reply. I couldn't. What do you say to the person who has irrevocably broken your heart and then asks you for a favor? There are no words strong enough to cover that chasm. There is a wound so deep that it requires complete silence to begin healing. My life now is quiet. It's stable. I learned that being underestimated is a dangerous thing. They thought I was just a sweet, grieving old woman who wouldn't fight back. But I learned that the love and loyalty you give out can be weaponized against you. And when that happens, you have to find a strength you didn't know you possessed. You have to stand up, not just for your money, but for your dignity and your life. The biggest lesson I learned: trust requires vigilance. Even the most beautiful, comforting bonds can snap when ambition and greed get involved. I survived, I rebuilt, and I proved that an old nurse with nothing but the truth on her side can fight a professional redditor and win. But the victory feels hollow. Sometimes, because while I got my financial security back, the family I cherished is gone forever, and that's a price you can never truly recover from. Thank you for letting me share this difficult story with you today. If my story resonated with you, and you appreciate hearing these true tales of life's battles and unexpected turns, please consider subscribing to the channel.